When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hey guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. Now, before I, get into this, or what if, this is it's a straight up villain what if, so it might not start off as a villain, but it'll slowly get there. All right, let's get right into this what if, or this fanfiction. It's going to be another MHA universe combined with Marvel. So I'll just let you guys know that's how this one's going to roll around. As we start our story off with our favorite mother, Inko Midoriya, wearing a Tartarus inmate prison uniform, chained up to a chair as she's staring daggers at the number one hero, All Might. She was brought in by the same hero that's in the same room and is in the same room with her basically. Before All Might was able to take her in custody, Inko is a very well known villain after killing her husband over estimated of sorry first again estimated to have stabbed her husband 250 50 times in the chest and face, making the man almost unrecognizable. Well, it isn't All Might. Are you here to gloat? I can fully admit you got me there in our last fight. You're not the number one hero for nothing. I want to know one thing, villain. Have you ever come across a villain that goes by All for One? All for One. I've heard of him, of course. He's a legend when it comes to us villains. The boogeyman to heroes and heroes to villains, given the pun. Now, it's up to you if you believe me. After all, I'm still a villain at the end of the day, and can a villain be truly trustworthy? But don't, sir. And don't you dare think I am not going to get out of this. I'm going to get out of here, of course. After all, I have a little one waiting for me at home. Why do you look so shocked, All Might? There was a couple rumors around that said you had a kid, but there was never concrete. But I'm surprised you butchered your husband. I thought you would do the same to whatever offspring you brought into this world, villain. Villains don't tend to be very protective of their own kin. Don't compare me to those losers. Those type of ingrates are nothing but children playing as villains. I am the real deal. As ruthless as I am, there are some lines that I won't even cross. My late husband isn't the father of my child. I would never make a offspring with that pathetic piece of shit of a man. I am revolted that I allowed him to touch me. I would rather slit my own throat than have his child. And don't get me confused, All Might. I'm a very bad woman, but I love my child dearly. I might despise my late ex-husband. I hated a man with all my heart. If you found out what I found out, what that bastard was was getting involved in, you would we would most likely not having this conversation. You would be trying to put him behind bars. He was a nasty piece of work, that Asashi. Nevertheless, my dear child is safe and sound. Not even you heroes could locate my child. He's with his real father, and I'm not going to reveal his identity or the sex of my child. No one escaped Tartarus. Trust me, All Might. I will. I have my ways. Doesn't really matter. You're not getting out of here. I already got what I came for. All Might himself is worried about the child of Inko Midoriya. If he can prevent another villain resurfacing, he'll try his best to prevent it. If he didn't, he would be going. Sorry. All Might decided he's going to try to track down the child down, but with little information he got from Inko and the way she was phrasing her words as she spoke as her son or daughter. Only thing, sorry, as she referred either her son or daughter to child instead of son or daughter, keeping the identity secret. Over the years, he's been trying to capture her. He figured out real fast Inko is very intelligent and resourceful. The guards came into the room and unchained Inko, and they led her as she got out of the chair, and they make sure the collar was still active. Disabling her quirk. As she was put in, eventually she was put in her cell door. Couple hours later, a couple hours has passed since her nice little chat or little conversation with the number one hero. As a bright portal opens up in the middle of the room, while Inko is still reading her book, a man wearing armor with a green cloak. Hello, dear Inko, dear. Oh, sorry. Hello, Inko, dear. I do apologize for making you do this. I got very good intel on the heroes from this country with your little rampage across Japan. Inko jumped up from her bed and closed the book as she wrapped her arms around Victor. I miss you, Victor. As she removes his mask, his scar is no longer there, no longer on his face. When Inko started to get involved with Victor Von Doom, she she found a way to heal his face. It might not it it might have took her a few months, but she got it done. From that day, they started to become very good friends. They were both inventors, as they have something in common, some common ground. Sooner or later, their friendship turned into something more. Then eventually, her son was born, Izuku, as she immediately locks lips with Victor Von Doom. A couple of seconds later, she breaks the kiss and puts the mask back on his face. How's our son been doing? He's still in his crib. Come on, let's go home. I'm already tired of Japan. You first, my lady. Well, aren't you being the gentleman today? I don't mind it. I kind of like it. I would like to see more of this in the future. As she walks through the portal back to Latveria, as Inko and Victor Von Doom walk down the halls of their castle, as they approach the baby room, with a 2-year-old Izuku sleeping peacefully in his crib. Victor, I do worry about him for his future. I chose this lifestyle. It was my own decision. It was my own decision. You did as well, but I want him to choose what path he walks. Victor scoffed. No matter what path he chooses, dear, he's going to be the best. He's my son, after all. He will show great. Sorry. If he shows any signs of having a quirk, would be indeed interested in what type of powers, what sort of powers he will inherit. Regardless if he has a ability or not, I'm a well-known sorcerer, so I I could always teach him that and the things of magic. Thank you. I know how the quirkless population is treated in Japan and the rest of the world, other countries. They're more lenient compared to the population in Japan, but they're still kind of looked down on. People that do have powers like the mutants and metahumans, and that's not even including the inhumans. They're a very secretive lot, and that's not even including the righteous, stuck-up scientist in his little team of Fantastic Four. I I very dislike that man. As we cut to the next scene, as some years has passed, as you see Izuku sitting in his father's lap on a chair while waiting. Give me a second, guys. While waiting, whether what type of quirk he will get, he would never allow some sort of. Oh, I'm sorry. His father would never allow some sort of random doctor to get a hold of his son to to determine his fate. It's. Give me a second, guys. Victor is not having that. So he did some research on quark science when he first heard of quarks. Out of it intrigued him as it came from the genetic, like the mutant gene. But they soon realized there are two different type of genes after studying it for a while. So, Dad, how long do you think this is going to take? It's almost time for Mother's annual family dinner. You know how she gets when we're late, Dad. I'd rather not get yelled at again. Don't remind me, son. Your mother can be quite scary when she's angry. This shouldn't take very long, son. The analyzation is almost complete. Looks like it's finally done. Let's see what we have here. Well, this is interesting. According to the results, you have some sort of electric type quirk. We'll definitely keep an eye on it, and in the future, when your abilities finally manifest, then we can gauge what your power actually do and train you in your abilities. Then, if you want, I then if you want, I could start your magical training for the meantime until your quirk manifests fully. Awesome. What type of magic you're gonna be teaching me, Dad? As he has a peer display on his eyes, mm, or his peer display on his eyes, like a childlike wonder of possibly learning something new. It will be revealed in time, my son. We should probably get going. If we don't leave now, we're gonna be late. As the both dooms fin- as the both dooms finally arrived at the dinner room table, as they all sat in their seats, down while the staff set down trays of food for the family. It's good to see you two boys on time. So, how did it go, Victor? Seems like you want to tell the story then. Go right ahead, son. Dad said I had some sort of electric-based quirk. That's cool and all, but I'm more interested in learning magic from Dad. He said he's gonna finally teach me. Inko couldn't help but to hear that warm her heart. Seeing her son with excited, childlike wonder in his eyes, she always couldn't. deny her son when he gets like that. Whatever worry she had, she immediately, where she had about magic with her son, she immediately trusts her husband, so she knows that he won't put him in too much harm. That's great, sweetheart. Just don't just don't overlook your quirk training while you're learning magic. I expect you to be as talented as you are in magic, or as same as you're using your quirk. I'll be testing you ever so often in the future to see how you are progressing. I'm not I'm not doing this because I hate you, son, but because I'm your mother and you are a Von Doom. People are going to judge you because where you come from. I just want to make sure you're able to protect yourself regardless how you use your abilities, if you walk down the path of good or follow me and your father's path. You have our full support, son. I know you're too young to fully understand this. You will understand in time, son. Why don't you head off down to bed when you're done eating? When your son left the room to go off to bed, by following one of the maids, weren't you being a little harsh on the boy? The boy's not that much older. True, he needs to keep up with both his training, but even I, even I find that a little much for to expect from him. He's only 6 years old. He might be 6. Our boy is highly intelligent. It seems like he inherited both our intellect. It won't take him long to figure out what I meant. If he was a normal child, he probably wouldn't. If, sorry, if he was a normal child, it probably would have took him his entire teen until he was his teen years to most likely figure out what I meant. But with his intelligence, he'll get the gist of it, but he won't fully understand until he's a little bit older. Our son might be super intelligent, but he's still just a kid. You know how kids don't process the same information as the same way as grown-ups. I'm just making sure he has the tools he needs to survive if he ever ventures out of Latveria. Several years has passed as he's been training with his father in magic. As well, not actually, it's not years. Sorry, a few months has passed as he's been training with his father in magic. As Izuku is playing in the garden that's on the castle grounds, trying to figure out how to activate his quirk. He would occasionally see green sparks of electricity emanating from his body now and then. He suspects his quirk is in the process of manifesting. He just needs that extra push to be able to use it. He tried several different methods, but they all came to failure until he tried the most simplest thing to cover all the bases. In his last ditch effort to activate his quirk, he snapped his finger as a lightning construct of a kunai comes comes out of existence or comes into existence and shoots towards the tree. The moment the electric construct kunai made contact, there was a bright light as the tree caught fire from the electric charge. Whoa, that's cool. As he continues the same process to the opposite tree, when he snapped his finger, a lightning construct of kunai come to existence to shoot off towards the tree, giving the same results. He knows after all his power, sorry, he knows after a while his power slowly decrease in strength when it comes to his electricity. He soon figured out his quirk is connected to to stamina. The more stamina he has, the longer he's able to use his quirk. He has no idea what his quirk actually can do. He's unsure if this is the he's unsure if this is the whole quirk or this is just a small part of it. Izuku spent his time learning sorcery from his father and training his quirk with his mother in hand-to-hand combat with her. He got when he got the appropriate age. When Izuku turned 14 years old, his father threw a big banquet for his 14th birthday for completing his training in sorcery. Uh, and from this point on, it's up to Izuku. It's up to Izuku to increase his knowledge in magic. From this point on, he's just figuring out his quirk. He has a lot more of his abilities than he is still figuring out his quirk. A lot more of his abilities than lightning construct. Oh, there's a lot more to quirk than just a lightning construct of a kunai. But he did find out one side ability with his quirk. He can use electricity stored in his body to supercharge his physical feats, making him a whole lot faster, stronger by supercharging his muscles with his electricity. Increase his stats for a short period of time. For right now, he can only activate it out for about 5 minutes in short bursts. If he's if he's fighting a long-term battle, he can hold up for about let's say about an hour, but he's only able to use it. It takes a lot more out of the quirk than the short burst than to leave it on. He's only short burst with that ability 3 times before he completely ran out of stamina. As you see, the banquet hall is filled with all types of different villains between Magneto, Mystique, even Emma Frost is among them. Dr. Doom invited the villains that he respects and are friendly towards, or have a friendly dialogue. Victor Von Doom announced the banquet as everyone begin eating and talking among themselves. While they were enjoying themselves with their feast, of course someone had to ruin their good time, as the Avengers come bursting through the window, as they immediately got into a fighting pose. Shield noticed a high number of villains are gathering up in Latveria, so they send the Avengers to see what they're up to, see if they're up to something. Black Widow noticed a child in the room by the age of about 13 or 14, she can't tell, sitting right next to Victor Von Doom on the other side of sorry on the other side of the preteen is a woman with long green hair and eyes, matching the young boy that's in the middle. I don't know what you're plotting, Doom, but I'm putting an end to it. Wielding a shield, arrogant attitude. You're a long way from home, Captain America. This is not your United States. You don't have a right to demand anything here. This simple act is an act of war. Come to my home, ruin my son's birthday, and scared my visitors. As you see, nothing's but a banquet, along among friends, to celebrate my son's 14th birthday. So I suggest you leave, or I might take this as an invitation to start a war. As Tony speaks up, Iron Man, I don't know what you're up to, Doom, but I'll figure it out. After all, I'm Tony Stark. Do what you want, just leave my country. Before my lovely wife, loses her cool. I can't only hold her back for so long. What my dear husband said is true. I'm trying my best not to outright kill all of you for interrupting my son's birthday and interrupt his celebration. You can go back to your little master Nick Fury and tell him to stay out of Latveria. He's not welcome here. Neither are you, Avengers. I've kept my quiet long enough. All the knives in the room start to float up and point at the Avengers, with Doombots pointing their blasters at the Avengers. You're lucky that my husband has a cooler head than I do. That's what spared your lives here tonight. Don't cross me or my family again. We are Von Dooms. We're not to be trifled with. Now, get out. Inko watches the Avengers retreat. I do apologize for that. Sorry, I do apologize for that. Please, everyone, continue your evening. As she sat down and take a sip of her wine. Well said, wife. Those Avengers, I swear, we only were having a simple friendly get-together, not some sort of meeting like we're about to plot something. Heroes. Don't worry, I'll be fixing my blind spots. This won't happen again. You could count on that. The Shield got the message that if they do something like this again, it would be an act of war. She turns to her son. I do apologize, sweetheart. I hope those nasty Avengers didn't ruin your day. It's fine, Mom. So that's what a lab dog looks like. They're too arrogant, of course. That's it. Sorry, let's try it again. That looks like, sorry, let's try it again. That's fine, Mom. That's what a lab dog looks like. They're too arrogant, but of course, that's what's expected from low birth trash like that. I'm having a wonderful time, Mom, despite the peasants breaking in. That one sentence was really difficult to say for some reason. I'm just having an off day, anyways. Let's continue. Glad to, I'm glad, dear. I had the staff make your favorite cake. It looks like they're bringing it now. As the family of Von Dooms enjoyed the rest of the day and night, spending their time with the guests until everyone finally left. As everyone retired for the night, the next morning, Izuku got out of bed the next morning and dressed himself for some reason. The maids like to nag him from doing that. Izuku might be arrogant, spoiled a little bit, but he's fully capable of dressing himself. After eating breakfast, he went to his classes. He's been taught all his years. Sorry, I butchered that, by the way. After breakfast, he went to his classes. He's been tutored ever since he was born by the private tutors, by his father himself and his mother. After his private lessons, he spent his free time developing his magic power before he starts his quirk training with his mother, with his quirk in hand-to-hand combat, so he could develop a combat style while using his quirk, was using a hand-to-hand combat basically. That lasted till nightfall, then after eating dinner, going to bed and do the same thing over and over again for several months. Several months has passed as he's seen great improvement magically and with his quirk. Even though he's a Von Doom, he wants to try to be good, because it looks like fun being the hero. Fighting opponents, saving the day. The idea of saving the day was appealing to him, but But on the other hand, things being a villain would seem a lot more fun, and it seems interesting as well. But he ultimately wants to try this good guy thing out first. If that doesn't pan out, he'll follow his mother and father footsteps in being a villain. After making great progress, his mother gave him a break of training for a few weeks, so he took a stroll around the village. He does interact with the villagers quite a lot. He does a he does a he does have a caring nature. He spent all his free time helping the villagers out. The citizens are terrified of Von Doom, but they totally adore his son. From a small age, he inherited. Oh, sorry, I messed up. From a small age, he interacted with the general population of Vadberia. One day, when he was doing his medical study, on one of the staff interrupted him and informed him that both of his parents seek an audience with him in the throne room. As Izuku begins to put all the magical spell books and artifacts back in their proper place, as he locks the door and made his way to the throne room, as he sees his parents talking to a bald man in a wheelchair, and another present is in the room, a woman with white hair, dark skin, some sort of black uniform, some sort of X symbol on her clothes. You wanted to see me, father and mother? Oh, you came just in time, sweetheart. I'd like you to meet Professor X of the School for the Gifted and his associate, Miss Storm. As Xavier's wheelchair moved towards Izuku, as the professor extended his hand out to have the young man shake his hand. Name's Charles Xavier. Nice to meet you, young man. As he shakes Xavier's hand, thus to be polite, you're probably wondering why I'm here. I train people like you at my institute. I'm fully aware you're not a mutant, but we also take in people with quirks that find themselves outside of Japan. I've been talking with your mother and father. You will make a good you would make a good fit. I'd like to discuss it with you. I was like, I'll let you discuss it with your parents to see if this is the right fit for you, young young Izuku. So what do you think? Me and your father have been talking about for this quite some time, and I did notice you're interested in doing something like this. So no matter what you decide, you have me and your father's full support. How long will I be gone if I do this, mother? I don't know, son. You can visit us anytime. I made sure that was clear to Xavier. Crystally clear. This is the only type of superhero team that I approve of. I don't like those Avengers and those Fantastic Four. That's way out of the question. You really have a grudge. You really have the grudge for those people, don't you, mother? I'm straight I do, my son. I won't get into that, but this is a good opportunity. I want to try this, Mom. I don't like leaving you and Father behind. But when it comes to my growth and abilities, I actually need combat experience. And this institute that trains abilities like mine could give me a chance to look at my training in a different point of view. If this is what you want, dear, I won't stop you. I'm with your mother on this. Remember, you're a Von Doom, so don't take in shit. Of course, father, I would never allow anyone to push me around. I'm not a peasant, after all. Well said, my boy. Back to Professor X or Xavier and Storm. Not not to question your judgment, Professor, but are you sure this is a good idea? He's the son of Doctor Doom, and by the looks of his mother, I can tell she's taken lives before. She's dangerous. Thank you for your concern, Storm. It is true his parents are pretty much villains, very dangerous, but their son seems to want to take another path. I will do my best to guide him to the future, to that future. And we shouldn't judge him by way he looks or who his parents are. Even though he probably won't get any sorry, even though he probably won't get a warm reception with the rest of the students, with time he should be able to form bonds with the rest of his colleagues. Well, it looks like we're about to get our answer. Thank you for waiting, Professor and Miss Storm. I would like to accept your offer to join your academy. Wonderful news, my boy. We'll take our leave for now. We will be returning in a week's time. Have your things ready by then. It's always good to talk to you again, Victor. And it was extremely pleasure to meet you, Miss Doom. Me and my husband are thankful for your visit, giving our son the opportunity to do something he wanted to do. You have my thanks. As you know, my husband is a well-known villain, and I am a pretty much well-known in Japan. We might be villains. We're not very nice people, but our son has a better chance to choose what path he wants to take. If he wants to take this, if he wants to take this in joining your little academy, as long as my son's happy, that's all I care about. Believe. Give me a second, guys. I'll leave my son in your capable hands. And what I'm about to say, it's not a threat, it's a guarantee. If my son is mistreated in any way from the faculty, I will unleash my full fury upon you and your little X-Men. It's not smart to mistreat my boy. Just keep in mind, his parents are villains. As long as you keep that in mind and prevent something like that to happen, we'll have no problems. Of course, Miss Doom, our faculty would never do such a thing. Good. No need to worry about the other students treating him very warmly or not. I expect he won't make a lot of friends. My my son doesn't have thin skin, so he could take care of himself on that end. And maybe if he's lucky, he might make a friend or two. See you in a week's time then. Inko watches Professor X and Storm begin to return to their X-jet. Son, why don't you return to your training then tomorrow? You could gather up your things, then do some light training until Xavier arrives, re-arrives, or arrives again. Basically, what I'm trying to say. Understood. As he did what his mother told him to do, as he continued his training, then gather up all his things and all things he needs to attend his academy. As the weeks went by pretty fast, as he's standing with his luggage on the land pad, where you see the X-jet hovering down as Xavier greets Izuku. He had Colossus and Wolverine load up his luggage for him. As he hugged his mother goodbye and said goodbye to his father, as he boarded the X-jet, as the plane took off some time later, they arrived at Xavier Manor. Xavier gave him the tour on the lower levels of the manor, showing him the danger room and Cerebro. As he told him that they were going there, It's for psychics only, and it's very dangerous even if you went in there. So he doesn't care about that. As they continued their tour on the upper levels, as they came out of the bookshelf of Xavier's office, as Xavier showed him around the rest of the manor, as he showed him to his room, Izuku was left alone in his room. As he begins to unpack his belongings and decorate his room the way he wants. The next day, Storm guided him to his first class. She told him to wait outside the door while she when she's ready to call him in. A few minutes later, Storm informed the class that they're getting a new transfer student from Latveria. Izuku walked in and bowed and introduced himself. My name is Izuku Von Doom. I have a electric-based quirk. Izuku noticed plenty of other students are whispering to each other when he announced his last name, as he took an empty seat in the back of the class. Storm immediately began her lesson, as that's where we're going to cut it off. Hope you guys have a good night and day, judging by time zones, and I'll catch you in the next video.